It's time for a brand new episode of the Bakery Bears video show.
This is our lifestyle show featuring craft, baking, and a little bit of history.
We've got lots of projects to show and one of our special series to share.
What will we feature this time, and which of our projects will be our favourite?
Let's get on with the show and find out.
Welcome everybody to the Bakery Bears video show. Yes, we're back. And if you were wondering where we were last week, then you didn't watch our last episode till the end.
That's true.
Because we told you. Yes, in the last, so much has happened because Pi Day came and went.
Oh, yes.
And it was a rip-roaring success.
Indeed.
Spoke about Pi Day in our last show. This is, of course, it's autumn, it's pie season.
Yeah.
And yet we had a gorgeous chicken and leek pie.
We did.
It was wonderful.
I've forgotten already about
I know.
that.
It seems like a lifetime ago.
It was delicious. And I've got ingredients now to make an apple and mincemeat pie.
A sweet mince pie?
Sweet mincemeat, like mince pies.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Very exciting.
It was stupendous. And also, I turned 50. Now, thank you all for your wonderful messages in this difficult time. We delved...
It actually was a lovely day, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a lovely week.
Yeah, it was.
We came very kindly, suggested that we postpone our summer holiday until now to sort of take a week to really celebrate my 50th. So went back to my hometown, did a lot of walking around and eating out and things like that, and covered it all in our most recent radio show.
Yes.
Which we recorded on the way home.
On the way home, we did in the car.
So lots of people listened to that already, but if you haven't listened to that and you want the full lowdown, go have a listen.
Go have a listen.
Oh, yes. Because... yes, we've been away an extra week, and that means we have a jam-packed show.
We do.
Because would you believe that today, My Perfect Socks comes to an end?
Oh, my goodness, it does.
The socks...
I have finished them.
Finally.
They're finished. They are blocked. They are beautiful. You're going to see them.
I mean, that is so exciting, isn't it? So, yes, My Perfect Socks later on in the show will be coming to an end. Brand new colourway, contrasting on, and then knitting that toe. Come on, it's going to be so exciting.
Yes.
Also, though, pick of the projects. What will our favourite projects that we're working on right now be?
What will it be?
Mine is very surprising.
I don't know what yours is.
Oh, it's very, very surprising. And also, Kay's just decided what hers was now.
Because it's always
they're all
like...
wonderful.
I know, it's always like, oh, I don't know which one's my favourite. And then I was like, no, it's that one. Right.
We've also got some wonderful What's Off Your Needles.
Yes.
Particularly exciting projects.
Very, very exciting.
That are all finished and ready to show you. And of course, we'll be kicking off the show properly in a minute with our What's On Your Needles segment. But surprise beyond surprise, because first thing, I know a lot of people will be wondering, because my goodness, we've had so many messages about the crochet jelly roll.
Yes.
And we are very excited to let you know that later on in today's show, Kay will be delving deeply into the process that she's gone through.
Yeah.
And also, prepare yourselves, she'll be revealing the release date.
Yes. You don't have long to wait, everybody.
My heart even skipped a beat then.
I know.
Saying those words.
Very exciting.
It is very exciting because you've released lots of patterns over the years, and we've never had so many messages from people saying, when are you going to release that?
Yeah. So it's soon. It's coming soon. So you'll find out, like Dan said, you'll find out later when it's going to be released.
But always wanting to give more, to deliver when you least expect it, whilst today we may not be releasing the crochet jelly roll. Surprise! We are releasing another blanket band.
Yes.
What is it, Kate?
A couple of days ago, I released the 100 Acre Blanket pattern, which is this beautiful mitered square blanket. If you remember, I designed this for our Summer of Stitching this year. I think it was the best one ever. We had so many messages from our patrons just saying how much they enjoyed it, and it was just fantastic. So I didn't know at the time whether I was going to release this as a general release paid for pattern. I sort of thought about it after we finished summer of stitching and just decided that yes, I did want to release it. This blanket pattern, the 100 Acre Blanket, is now available to purchase on Ravelry and Love Crafts.
My goodness.
So yeah, it's a mitered square blanket, and I know there's millions of mitered square blanket patterns out there for free, but there are some differences with this pattern that I've created. So first of all, the decreases on the blanket, they form a zigzag. They zigzag across the blanket, and that's because of the construction method that I've used. In the past, what I've seen for this type of a blanket is that either you work them in rows, horizontal rows, which is what I've done in the past, or some people work like from the centre out and produce effectively like an X cross with the decreases going out. But with this one, you actually construct it in strips going vertically, and that's how you get the zigzag pattern. So there's that difference. Also, the border is my own design. It looks like an I-cord. It's not an I-cord. It's much quicker. It's less fussy. And I bordered this entire blanket in, I can't even remember how long. It was within the space of an afternoon, and it didn't take me all afternoon. You know, it's super quick. And yeah, so that's in there. The pattern contains 9 video tutorials.
Oh my.
That cover everything. You know, every aspect of making this blanket. And there's also a schematic in there showing you how it's constructed. So if you've never made one of these blankets, and surprisingly, when we went through summer of stitching, so many people said they'd never made one. The fact that there's all these videos in there that show you how to make it, you know, there's no worries about, you know, where do I pick up, how do I do this, it's all in there. And the other thing that I just wanted to show you is this is the little swatch that I did when I filmed the video. So if you've got the pattern, you'll see me knitting this little swatch, and I use this all the time.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's like a little mat on my desk, so it might have a drink on there. I actually, at the moment, have got like a photo stood on top of it with a few little Bryony-related things around it. So if a blanket is not your thing, but you want to have a go at this, then there are other options. You know, you can make smaller versions and just have some little coasters or mats, you know, for your desk, that kind of thing. And actually, you'll see later, I have started another project using this pattern, and it's not a blanket either. So I'll tell you about that later.
Amazing. Now,
yeah, so surprise pattern launch. And thank you to everybody who's bought it already and commented on Ravelry as well. It's just been so nice to read so many lovely thoughts about it.
Now, that's what I call the start of a show.
I know.
I mean, like, beyond exciting.
And the other thing, I could go on and on about this blanket, but in the pattern, what I will say is, you know, there's the typical sort of notions page, abbreviations, and then the next page is actually a full side of notes about the pattern. And I do say at the top, you know, please read this before starting your blanket, because there's lots of information in there about the pattern. It talks about yarn amounts and size of squares, if you want to adjust it, what you need to do. But I actually came up with this size of square because I wanted to be able to knit one of these in about 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes, because I designed it initially with the thought that it'd just be like a one a day. And even if you have the busiest day in the world, I would like to think that you'd still manage to squeeze 20 minutes in somewhere just for a little bit of knitting. And it's so nice just to get one of these tiny squares done. It is a bit smaller than I've done before, and it just works so well for me, this size of a square.
So from one amazing project to another, because yes, we have, of course, so many wonderful things to show you because we've had an extra week to work on them. So without further ado, I shall say, Kay Jones, what's on your needles?
Okay, the first thing then is my Sockaween socks.
Ah, yes. This is, of course, our month-long celebration of sock knitting.
Absolutely.
And knit along with exceptional prizes.
Yes.
A tutorial series. Oh.
Everybody always loves Sockaween. It's just so much fun. And my Sockaween socks are, I finished one and I'm on the second one. I'm using some yarn by 3 by the Sea Designs. and it was one of their kind of seasonal colourways that came out, and it's Hocus Pocus is the colourway, and the base is fantastic. It's on their Stellina Amelia Silver base, and the difference with this is it's 10% Stellina rather than the usual 5%, so it's so sparkly. So this is the yarn. It was a sock set, so you get a purple mini. I'll show you that in a second, but here's the yarn. It's this beautiful combination of blacks and oranges and green in there. It's just absolutely lovely. And I finished a sock. So here's the first one. I decided in the end just to use the purple mini that came with it. I decided just to use the purple for the heel. I was enjoying the yarn, you know, the main colour so much, I just thought I'm going to do it for the toe as well. So it's just a plain sock. These will be for Bryony. So I did 12 rounds, knit 2 pale 2. I like little cuffs at the minute. I don't know why, I just think they look cute, and Bryony's not bothered how long her cuff is, so I just do 12 rounds for the cuff. I've done 40 rounds for the leg, and then I popped in my butterfly heel, which is a mock short row heel, and then just knit down to the toe, and I've put in my umbrella toe. One thing I'll say about this base is it's definitely plumper than a normal fingering weight, and I think that must be because of the extra stellina just kind of, you know, bulking it up a bit. So I knit my foot probably about, I think it ended up being 4 or 5 rounds less than I normally would because it was working up a bit big, and it is a little bit bigger on the blocker than my socks normally are. I haven't blocked this yet. But once it's been in the washer a couple of times, in a student washer, they will shrink down a little bit, I'm sure. So that's my first one. And I've got the second one on the go. I think I'm about 20 rounds into the leg. Is it knitting up slightly differently? Maybe it's not.
Maybe the pale bit is a bit wider.
Maybe it is.
I don't know.
I think this is the thing with variegated yarns, isn't it? If your gauge changes even a little bit from one sock to the next, it can change the way it looks. I'm not bothered. It's totally fine. You know, it really doesn't matter. And Bryony really liked the colours in this when I showed it to her. But yeah, I'm using 2.5mm magic loop. These are Addy, whatever's they're called here. I think it's like the equivalent of sock rockets, but they're not sock rockets. I don't think I've got the packet in here. Addy Lace, I think they're called. Is it Addy Lace? I'm not sure, but anyway, they're Addy needles and 2.5mm, which is what I tend to use for socks these days. So yeah, just really enjoying those, and these are my bedtime knitting now, actually. Brilliant. Vanilla socks are brilliant for bedtime knitting, particularly when it's my butterfly heel, because I can just pop that in really quickly and then it's just knitting. I don't have to think about any decreases or anything like that. And this heel does fit me really well. This heel is in a few of my different sock patterns. It's in the Fairground socks, it's in the Rumple socks, it's in another one as well. It's in the lattice top socks as well. Fairground socks, I would say, is the most popular pattern that this one is in because it's really good with self-striping. But it's not a short row heel. It looks like it, if you look. It's not a short row heel. It uses decreases and then increases to create it. And you knit it as you're knitting the sock. It's not an afterthought heel. It's brilliant. I love it. I really love this, and it fits me and Bryony really, really well. So, yay for Sockoween socks.
Oh, yes.
So, Dan Jones,
yes.
What's on your needles?
You always make me panic when I see that blank look in your eyes.
Because I'm like, what do I say next?
So look.
Oh, it's your Sockoween socks.
It is my Sockoween socks.
These are great.
I'm knitting the Fairground socks. This is a yarn sock set thingy.
Oh, gosh.
From Freckled Whimsy.
It's a self-striping sock
called
set.
Jeepers Creepers.
There you go. You got all the information you need there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Jeepers Creepers. It was a Halloween club from last year. It's number 12. Oh, it's actually this year, April 2025. And it's just lovely.
Yeah, and I've showed you them 2 shows in a row, and I don't normally do that. It's, of course, because it's Sockoween, but also it's because I've knitted quite a decent amount on them.
Yeah, they look really
probably
great.
around here last time, and then now down into the heel. I'm doing a traditional heel flap and gusset because that's what I always do.
Yes.
I used Kay's lining up for making it look good video tutorial. Lining up self-striping.
That's just what it's called.
Lining up self-striping. So here and here, here and here.
Yeah.
So you get the perfect, like, crisp beginning and end.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But that pattern, the Fairground pattern, although it does have an option for a heel flap and a turn as well,
Yeah.
but because it uses self-striping yarn, I put in a square turn.
You do.
Because that disrupts the stripes the least,
Yeah.
I find. And
Yeah.
it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But they look great.
last time I said
How good they
that
look.
the yarn was annoying me when it changed colour, and it isn't now, so I take that back.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, I'm really sorry that I said that last time.
Oh, I'm sure she won't be
It was
offended.
it wasn't pointed at you at all. It was
No.
me completely. But honestly, it's not bothering me now when it changes colour.
No,
and it's
not
definitely fun,
Very fun.
but still...
It's still not your favourite thing, and that's
No,
fine, isn't it?
It's not that it's not my favourite thing. Just... I'm totally fine with yarn that doesn't change colour. And I'm not being diplomatic now. Genuinely,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'll knit with this. I'll absolutely knit with this, and it'll be great fun and lovely. But I'm totally cool with plain yarn, and that's just me.
But I'm sure there'll be many out there who agree
Yeah.
with you. It's just a personal choice, isn't it?
It is, and that's the beauty of.
It's nice to try something different though,
Oh,
and then you learn
brilliant.
something about what your preferences are.
I definitely, and I'll knit with self-striping again, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think the only pattern I want to knit with self-striping is the Fairground socks,
You're very kind.
because
There wouldn't be enough happening for you, would there, otherwise?
no,
It's just plain.
yeah, absolutely not, and it would be a waste of time doing any other type of pattern, wouldn't it? Because
Why?
Wouldn't self-striping hide the patterning?
It depends what the pattern was.
Right.
I think most people would just do plain socks with self-striping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It would seem pointless to do otherwise, wouldn't it?
Sometimes putting a pattern in can disrupt it, but
Yeah.
on this occasion, it works beautifully. And
Well,
I think
it works brilliantly. And what is inspiring me to knit these socks, the reason why I've made the progress, is the pattern. And it, 3 rounds of plain knitting and 1 round of pattern is the perfect combination.
Yeah, a lot of people say that to me, and I know that particularly Jen, our editor Jen, she must have knit this. Jen, how many times have you knit this? I don't know. And every time I see her knitting it, I do, it makes me laugh because I'm like, oh gosh, she's so lovely to just be knitting another one. It's the sort of pattern I've knit it, I don't know how many times. But it is the sort of pattern that, like Dan said, it's so easy to get into your brain and it produces such a lovely effect that you do just want to go, oh, what would it look like with that self-striping I've got in my stash? And it's just so lovely. And this yarn in particular with the black in between these bright colours, it just shows it off amazingly well, I think.
So this is
Yes.
the Fairground socks. Having great fun knitting these. And this is, of course, part of our Sockweed event this year because I can't enter the knit along.
No, me neither. But we're taking part in the fun.
Yeah, we're still knitting
It's not
along.
about the prizes, is it? It's about
Well, it isn't for us.
No, it's not for us. It's not for a lot of people. It's the fun of it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Fun of joining in with everyone else.
It's the fun of it. And part of...
Knitting Halloween socks,
Yes. Part of Sockoween this year is you've been putting out your Spooky Kooky series.
Yes.
And the 3rd part has just gone out.
It has.
And here's a little snippet.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sockoween and our amazing Spooky Kooky socks. I hope you're having a wonderful time knitting all of the socks through this spooky season. And we're here today to start on our heel flap. So that's always an exciting point, isn't it? So what we're going to do is leave our orange colour, our main colour if you like, attached. And we're just going to start knitting with the contrast. So I'm just going to push that first needle, the stitches to the end, and then bring in my green, leave a tail for weaving in. Actually, what I'll do the slip stitch first. So the first row, the wrong side row, we're going to slip that first stitch purlwise and then purl the rest of the stitches. So I like to slip that one and then get my needle in ready. So that's the first row. Then I'm going to turn, and then what I like to do is just get my tail and just tuck that down out of the way. So there we go, we're off and running now with our heel flap. So you're just repeating those 2 rows for the number of times for the size of sock that you're working. It's detailed in the pattern. So I'm going to now complete my heel flap, and then I'll see you back and we'll be starting on the turn. So I'm following the instructions for the size medium, but if you're doing a different size, then just follow the numbers for your relevant size. So we're there now, look, you can see it's a great big gap, so it's really obvious. And then we're going to work an SSK over that gap. And then knit 1 and turn. So now you just continue working those 2 rows until you have used up all of these stitches.
The animations, the Sockaween animations
it's so
are my
cute,
absolute favourites.
I know,
They
you did
are-
a brilliant job this year with that.
I love the owl, and the ghost makes a few appearances.
Yeah. I love the ghost's my favourite, I think. With the little ghosty noise. Ooh.
Yeah, I have a whole range of ghosty noises that I can play with, dependent on the situation.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
There's a ghost for every occasion.
Oh, well, they would definitely say that.
Did you used to watch Rent-A-Ghost?
Yes.
Oh, I loved Rent-A-Ghost.
That's a brilliant programme.
Anyone else in this country that's about our age, oh my goodness, that programme. It was the most bizarre, weird children's programme ever.
It was the dude with the jester's hat that used to
I
make
know,
me laugh the most.
I know.
Fairground socks.
Yes.
Lovely yarn from Carrie, and the black actually really does.
It really does.
Make-
I just got another one actually from Carrie.
Makes these colours stand out so brilliantly.
I'm in her yarn club thingy, whatever it's called this year, I don't know. But the one I just got is very Halloween-y. Look at this, it's called Witching Hour. And that's a similar thing with the black, isn't it? Oh, well, that is lovely.
Those are my lovely socks. I can see, though, another lovely project bag waiting to show you something marvellous inside. So, Kay, show us. It's too exciting.
I'm really excited to show you this. So I've got this next project in my 100 acre tote bag. This is one of the bags that I made for the Summer of Stitching, because in here is another 100 acre project. So this one is not going to be a blanket, because, let me show you first of all. So this is what I've done so far, and you can see it's absolutely not big enough for a blanket. I've done just 11 squares high, and it's going to be 11 squares across as well, so it's going to be square. And this project is going to be, first of all, it's all autumnal themed yarns. Can you see that? And it's just glorious. So I'm putting into here anything that's got that autumn vibe for me. So we've got greens, we've got neutrals with sort of autumny speckles, we've got oranges and purples and browns, and it's just gorgeous. This is going to be, I don't even know what to call it. So I do a lot of tutorial filming on a desk, like on this desk, and I have like a piece of oilcloth on it, which is just a neutral colour as a background. But what I really like as a background sometimes is something fun underneath. For example, what I had in mind for this is for filming Sockaweens, because quite often they are more of a knit along. It's not that you need to sort of in detail see clearly what I'm doing. I mean, you can always see, but
Yeah, that sounds like a pointed
I know.
piece of feedback on my editing skills.
You can always see what I'm doing.
Yes, 10 years
I
ago
guess
they might not have been much good, but
What I mean is that I wouldn't want anything to distract from what I was knitting. And having a pretty background might be a bit distracting, because you might be looking at that rather than what I'm doing. But like I said, for things like where it's more of a knit along and it would just give a bit more of an atmosphere, I think it would just be so nice to have a backdrop of something like this. So I'm actually doing this for next year's Sockaween, because I know what I'm doing for next year's Sockaween. That's crazy, isn't it? this is how we plan. You know, we've come to learn over the years that forward planning is the key to everything.
Yeah, yesterday I was planning content for the end of January 2026.
Yeah, and yesterday we were also talking about my series for next year, and you know, we do tend to forward plan a lot, and it really is, it takes the stress, you know, that I would say, you know, most of the stress of producing lots of things each year, you can really alleviate that by forward planning. So yeah, I'm thinking that this is what the backdrop will be on my desk for next year's Sockoween, and it's just going to be so beautiful. So I've done it to the width of my desk. I've measured it and I've done it to the width of my desk, and I've made sure that the area will fully cover what is seen by the camera, and it's just going to be so pretty. Because that sometimes doesn't happen, does it? I'll put something pretty on the desk thinking you're just going to see that, and then you can see all stuff all around it. So that's not going to happen for next year. You're going to see these beautiful squares in all these autumnal colours. And I cannot tell you how much fun I have making this. And, you know, this is what I mean about it not always having to be a blanket. There's so many options for different things that you can make. And for me, you know, this is the thing, right? Normally, I'm a product knitter. It's all about getting that thing at the end. But with this, it really is the process. And that's the difference, I think, with this, because I just love making these little squares. I've always loved mitre squares, but changing the way that it's constructed, changing the size of the square, it just gives it a different feel. You know, when I was knitting the big size one, I never got bored. I was always, you know, when I got towards the end, I wanted to get it finished because it needed to be finished, you know, it was for a purpose. But I was never bored of knitting the squares. And it literally takes me like 20 minutes to knit one of these squares. And you've got a little finished thing, haven't you? So I love knitting. So I did this one just last night. I was sat on the bed while Dan was doing his Tai Chi. And oh my gosh, it was doing something last night and I could not stop laughing. I don't know what he was doing. It was hilarious to watch.
Which bit?
The one where you were like doing all this.
I was massaging.
He's doing all this.
Tai Chi massage.
And then doing his back.
You literally massage your whole body at the end.
It was so fun. Like, it was like you were having a shower.
Yeah.
But not having a shower.
Scalp massage.
It was so funny to watch because I couldn't hear what the man was saying on the video.
Funny enough, he wasn't saying anything.
Oh, was he not?
It was just like water and like birds.
Oh, right, okay.
And,
yeah. So yeah, I knit this little square while watching Dan do Tai Chi, so very relaxing 20 minutes that I had. It was lovely. And then I weave in the ends for that one, which takes like seconds. And then I can choose my next one. Oh, it's so nice. So I went through all of my minis and leftovers and everything of all the yarns and chose loads of autumnal ones and threw them all into this bag, and I'm just working from this. But also, I bought this crinkly noisiness from Kelly at Lay Family Yarns recently. It's a bunch of 10 gram minis, and I've started using these as well. I'll just take a few out because they're obnoxiously noisy, but you can see all of these colours. Oh, they're so lovely. So I've added a few of these in as well, and each square only uses just under 3 grams. So it's really brilliant for those teeny bits of leftovers that you've got. So when I make this blanket, and also when I made the knitted jelly roll, I used these same little needles, and it's these ones. These are some homemade short needles. These were a pair of 8-inch, they don't come in pairs, do the double points. It was 2 8-inch double pointed needles. And Dan cut me the ends off, and then I made some little ends from Fimo. Was it Fimo? It's the one you have to bake in the oven. Is that Fimo? I think so. So I baked them in the oven, and then I stuck them on the end with super glue. And I've used these for, like I said, a jelly roll. Every mitered square I've ever made, I've used these, and they're 2.75mm. And I get a lot of people commenting on how neat my squares are, and I've had a few of those comments from putting pictures up of the 100 acre blanket and, you know, saying, oh, how are your squares so neat? Well, I think it's possibly a combination of things. First of all, I think the gauge is really important for neatness. For me, gauge is important. I don't think anything can look neat and tidy unless it's got a gauge that's appropriate. Personally, this is what I think. Everybody thinks differently. But I like a gauge that is really not super dense, but I do not like sloppy gauge. I don't like, you know, my mum always used to call it, oh, look, that's look at the sloppiness of that, how it's knitted. And what she means by that is that it's a really loose gauge. I just don't like that. I like to see things that are, you know, appropriate, I would say, for the size. So 2.75mm fingering weight is perfect for me. But also with this one, what I did, I really sort of went back to basics with this, had a look at the construction and looked at how I could make it as square as possible so that, you know, they all line up against each other. There's no jogs or anything. And that's another thing for making it look neat, I think. If all of your squares look really square against each other, then that really helps with neatness. And also the way when you pick up, I pick up really nice and snugly. So it really is all about gauge, and it's about the way that this is constructed, I would say. If you know you're a loose knitter, I know there are a lot of people out there that are more of a loose knitter, then just use smaller needles. You know, use smaller needles and just try things out until you get a gauge that's...
Little pins.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I think it's, you know, the how you knit can sometimes affect your gauge as well. So it might be you think, oh, I'm going to try a different way of knitting and see if that actually affects my gauge. So there's lots of things that you can do.
Right, it's time for me to introduce the final part of My Perfect Socks.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll be honest, that feels weird because I feel like I've just introduced the first episode.
Really?
I really do. It's
Wow.
it's just passed in a flash. And my goodness, we've
10
knitted
months
some
like that.
wonderful yarns, haven't we? Some gorgeous yarns along the way. We've knitted all the way through a sock. And now it's time to do one last pair of yarns and then get knitting on that toe.
It's a brand new year, so it's time for a new challenge. I want to knit myself the perfect pair of socks. To do that, I'm going to need yarn and lots of it. The inspiration will be one of my favourite films. So together, let's create My Perfect Socks. Welcome back, everybody, to My Perfect Socks, and it's the final one. It's the final episode today, everybody. We have reached the toe of our socks, and it's the final colourway. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's October, you know, and we started this way back in January. So it's been a lovely journey, and I really hope you've enjoyed following us along in this adventure. So yeah, it's the final colourway today. So I'm sure you all know by now, but all of these colourways that I've been dyeing up have been inspired by the film You've Got Mail. And I've saved this one for last because I think it's one of the most well-known lines from the film, I would say, and probably one of the most well-known scenes in general. I was going to put this colourway in earlier on, and then I thought, no, do you know what, that would make a lovely final colour to put into our socks first of all, but also to dye and to show you how, you know, what interpretation. So I need to tell you, don't I? I need to tell you what the colourway is today. And it is, of course, the iconic line of Daisies are the friendliest flower. It's that scene where Meg Ryan's character of Kathleen has had to give up her shop because she's been pushed out by the big bookshop bullies of Fox Books. I think the whole thing of having to do that made her ill. You know, she got a really bad cold and she's been at home recovering from this. And then Joe Fox learns about this. He goes round with a bunch of daisies to sort of try and cheer her up. He knocks on the door. She's in her pyjamas. He manages to get up the stairs and knocks on the door. So she puts on her coat, which is a bit bizarre, and then opens the door and he's got these flowers. And this whole scene emerges from that. And within that, he gives her these flowers, which are these beautiful daisies. And she says, daisies are the friendliest flower. Don't you love them? I shouldn't start going into the inspiration, should I? Because we'll have a sit down and talk about that in a second. But I just wanted to let you know that that is the colourway that we're going to be dyeing up today. And the mini, actually, to go with it, I've already decided on the colour. It's a bit different this time. So again, I'll talk about that when we sit down. So I hope you're ready then for the final episode. If you've been knitting along with me, we're going to knit the toes and we're going to have a finished pair of socks. How amazing is that? I cannot wait to finish these socks and get them on my feet. So first of all then, let's have a sit down and I'll tell you all about the inspiration for today's colourway. So I'm cozied up in my little knitting corner and it's time to talk now about the specific inspiration for today's colourway. So yes, it's Daisies Are the Friendliest Flower, and the bunch of daisies actually that she's given in that scene, they're white daisies, but they do have a yellow centre and obviously they've got green stems. So I did it when I dyed this colour initially. I thought, well, what I should do is just a really bare cream base to represent the white daisies with speckles of the yellow and the green. But I don't know, I wanted it to have a bit more kind of, a bit more about it than that. So I decided to focus in on the yellow centre and the green stems, because of course you can get yellow daisies as well. And I guess in my head, I was also thinking of the Gilmore Girls, and I know this is a random tangent to a different genre altogether, but anybody who watched the Gilmore Girls will know the reference to 1,000 yellow daisies, and maybe that was sneaking into my brain as well. So I've used a bit of artistic license, let's say, and I'm focusing in on the yellow and the green because I wanted a bit more of a vibrant colourway to represent this scene that's going on. I've taken 2 shades of yellow and my favourite green, and we're going to create the actual daisy colour. And then this time for the mini, actually, instead of doing it on the fly and deciding what we were going to do after we'd dyed the colour, I'd already decided for this one what I wanted the mini to be. It's to represent the trench coat that she puts on to hide her pyjamas. I don't know why she did that. She looked perfectly fine just in pyjamas. So I decided that the mini to go with it would be like this sort of trench coat, browny, beigey, camel-y sort of colour. In all of our minis so far, we haven't had any kind of brown shade. We've gone through all of the bright sort of rainbowy colours, haven't we? But we do have some softer colours as well, and we do have a grey. So we have got some more natural colours in there. So I think to add a brown into that, just to complete our 12 minis, I think would be really nice. I love brown, and I tell you as well, right? We're all in the sort of, if you like brown, then we're in the hot fashion zone right now, because I think chocolate brown might be the colour of the season. I've certainly seen a lot of chocolate brown clothes around, in the shops. And when I've been online, I recently bought, I might be wearing it in the show today. I recently bought a chocolate brown sweatshirt. So to have a brown in there is, we're very on trend. It's a bit like Burberry brown, this as well, that I've got in my head. I've got all sorts of shades of brown going on in my head, trench coat colours. But we'll see what happens when we do that. I've got high hopes that it's going to be a really pretty shade. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be dyeing up that lovely, bright, vibrant shade of daisy yellow, let's say. Like I said, I've used a bit of artistic license and gone on the more colourful side, because we need to end the socks, I feel, in like a more colourful way rather than a just delicate speckled way. It's going to be fun. First of all, I've got my saucepans that we dye in. These are stainless steel. I like the ones that have two handles because they're nice and easy to move around when they've got heavy water in. I'm going to use two pans this time because we're dyeing two different colourways each time. All of your equipment that you use for dyeing, you must only ever use it for dyeing because the dye powders are toxic. We then need our citric acid. So citric acid is our mordant. The mordant is the sort of chemical, if you like, that makes the dye permanently stick to the yarn. So in my case, I'm going to use citric acid, which I would say is the most common way these days that dyers get their mordant. Citric acid is easy to get. It's a food safe product. It's basically the stuff that goes into fizzy sweets if you ever eat fizzy sweets. So we've then got some gloves. I've got some thicker rubber gloves which are more heat proof, and then I've just got these thin sort of surgical gloves. I've got a mask, of course. You must always use a mask when you are dyeing your yarns. I've got my big mixing spoon. Where would I be without my big mixing spoon? And a jug. This is just one of these cheap plastic jugs that you can get anywhere, and I use this for when I make a liquid solution with my dyes. I've got some old tea towels, and then underneath here I've got a piece of oilcloth, just a spare bit that I had from making those sort of wipe clean tablecloths, and this will keep your work surfaces lovely and clean and dye free. And then finally, in my little pot here, I've got some brushes and then my measuring spoon. So this is a 1/8 of a teaspoon measuring spoon. I think they're classed as like scientific measuring spoons, these ones, but this is stainless steel. I don't think I've ever had any other teaspoon. You know, and you just wash all these things thoroughly afterwards, ready for the next time. Each time we dye in this series, I'm going to be dyeing the same yarns. So in my bowl here, I've already got soaking in just some water, warm water from the tap, and a scoop of my citric acid, which is about a tablespoon. All I've ever done is bunged in like a scoop. These things usually come with a scoop, and I'm guessing it's about a tablespoon. Does it say on the back? No, it doesn't. But you know, I just put in a scoop when I'm soaking my yarns, and then you'll see each time I dye a batch of yarn, I put in another scoop. So in my bowl soaking, we've got fingering weight yarn, because this is for a lovely perfect pair of socks. So we've got a fingering weight yarn. Here I've got 100 grams, just one single 100 gram skein. And then here I've got two 20-gram mini skeins. So this is an 85-15 base, and it's a 4-plied yarn. So it's nice and round and plump, it's soft and bouncy. This is the base that I've been dyeing on for quite some time now. 85-15 base, there's 400 meters per 100 grams. And then we've got the two 20-gram minis. So that's going to be what we're going to be dyeing on each time. Okay, so what dye colours are we going to need today to create our Daisies Are the Friendliest flower colourway? Now, I've got 4 colours. I've got a landscape, 2 Dharma dyes and 1 jacquard. So first of all, I've got 2 yellows. So I've got a landscape dye, and this one is chamomile. So imagine a chamomile flower, and it's that, a chamomile flower I think is white, isn't it? And does it have the yellow middle? I think that's where this yellow comes from. And this yellow, it's like a sort of soft, warm golden yellow. So we've got chamomile. We've then got a jacquard dye, and this one is number 601, Sun Yellow. This one's a super bright, as it said, sun yellow, super bright yellow, almost neon, it's that bright. And then we've got a green, so we've gone back to our old faithful, which I've used several times. It's Dharma Dyes and it's Sour Apple. It's one of my favourite greens that you get kind of straight from the dye pot. It's like a fresh Granny Smith apple green. Really, really pretty. And then the final colour, I don't know whether we've used this before. It's another Dharma Dyes and it's Fawn, number 453, Fawn. And this is a, you know, as the name tells you, it's that kind of, you know, the animal, a fawn, that sort of brown. But I find it to be a very sort of pink leaning brown. So yeah, we've got Dharma Dyes, Fawn, and that's all 4 dye colours that we're going to need today. So of course the first thing we've got to do is get over to the stove and get dyeing that main colour. Okay, so in my pot I've got just about a quarter full of water and a scoop of the citric acid, just like normal, and that's heating up. So I'm going to get my yarn into here first of all. And we're going to drop that into the water. And as we've done before, we're just going to distribute this over the whole of the surface. So get as much surface area of yarn on the top. There we go. My water is quite hot already actually, so we can just go ahead and get the first dye colour in. So we're going to start off with our chamomile. This one in the pot actually, it doesn't look remotely yellow. It looks sort of just like a grubby greyish brown. It's amazing. I just find that amazing that that turns yellow. So what we're going to do is take an eighth, so a full teaspoon. My teaspoon's an eighth of a teaspoon, so we've got a full teaspoon. And then we're going to sprinkle it around the surface in a sort of ribbon fashion. So just follow it round like this. Any way you want to form a ribbon, really, it's entirely up to you. Can you see? Look, it turns yellow straight away. Isn't that amazing? And now just give that a little push, just a little push. What I'm trying to do is maintain a little bit of the white. I've found when I've dyed this before actually that the skein just ends up looking like a pale yellow overall, but as much as we can try and maintain a little bit of the white, it means at least we're going to get some very pale lemon yarn rather than it all just looking yellow. And now immediately I'm going to go in with the sun yellow. So this one's really bright, as the name suggests. And I'm just going to take about a half of a teaspoon for this. And I'm going to go over that sort of, it's this lovely golden yellow, isn't it? I'm going to go over where we've gone, just on top of that chamomile that we've already put on. So same thing, just in a little ribbon. All the way over. And then again, just push that down. So this yellow is very different to the chamomile. The chamomile is a very sort of soft golden colour. The sun yellow is very bright. So we get a really nice combination of yellows going on. So now what we're going to do is just leave that. So just leave it for a few minutes and we want that to set. So my water is really nice and steamy there, so it won't take long to start simmering. And then I'll turn it right down and just give that 5 minutes or so, maybe 10, just so that we can set that first layer of colour. Okay, so that's had about 10 minutes now to set. Let's just have a little check with my big spoon. Oh no, I think it looks fairly clear, that, doesn't it? So we can move this now. So here we go. Yeah, maybe the water's clear in there, you can see that. And we've got this gorgeous yellow going on, isn't that just lovely? So what happens is this sort of golden colour here is the chamomile, and then around it you can see, hopefully you can see a much more vivid, brighter yellow, and that's the sun yellow. So I'm just going to give that a little move and then maybe turn it as well. And you can see actually it's not bad in terms of distribution. I find that some colours do kind of work their way down to the bottom layer better than others. But what we're going to do now is just rearrange that back in, and we're going to do another layer of the yellow, but not as much this time. So last time we had like a full teaspoon of the chamomile, this time this much. So it's about 3/4, I would guess. And I'm going to go do the same thing, but I'm going to sort of go in the opposite direction, just so that we catch some of these lighter areas. And then I don't mind if it goes on the areas that we've already done. That will just give us a, you know, a deeper colour in those spots. Again, just snaking across and then give that a little push. So you can see we've hit some of those areas that were still quite white, but we've also gone back over some of the ones that already had dye, and that's fine. So now we're going to go for our sun yellow again, and not as much as last time with this. So we did about a half last time, so I'm just going to go for just under a half maybe for this. And just back over that area that we did with the chamomile. It's more difficult to see on this second layer, but we know roughly what we did. We went in a little S shape around there like that. And then just give that a little push. So once again, we're just going to let that set for about 10 minutes, and then we can put in our final colour. Right, that's had a little bit of setting time now, so we're going to give it another move, and then we're going to get some green into there. So I don't mind when I lift this up if there is a little bit of residual yellow in there. Let's have a look. It's not too bad at all. A little bit there, but it's totally fine. So we're now going to give that a nice move, and as I drop it back down, any sort of little bit of yellow that is left in there, just the movement of me doing this and how hot the water is, it will just set and disappear into the yarn. So what we've got now is a beautiful tonal yellow in there. We've not got another colour in there, so I wouldn't call it variegated unless there was sort of more than one colour really. But at the moment, yeah, beautiful tonal yellow. So now we're going to add a little bit of green, because we've got to have some leaves, haven't we, on our daisies. So I've got my sour apple. I'm literally just going to use a tiny bit of this, because what I want is just a little bit of green, a hint of green. I don't want it to overpower the yellow at all, because I've really, as I've said, I've really focused on the yellow aspect of this. So I'm just going to get a little bit. It's probably not even a quarter. Let's put this on and we'll see what it looks like, and I can always add a little bit more. So we're going to just do it in a ribbon again like we did before, but we've not got a lot of dye, so I'm going to move quickly. That looks fine actually. I'm going to pop that teeny bit back in the pot and then just give it a little push like this, because I don't want this to dissipate all over the yarn. We really want to just keep this as an accent colour. Such a nice green, and when it's on that yellow base as well, it makes such a lovely colour. That looks perfect. So once again, I'm just going to let this set, and then I'm going to move it around, and I'm just going to do that one more time with the green. Okay, so that green has set now, so we're going to give it a little move and then just repeat what we did for that first layer of green. So you can see we've got quite a bit going on here, but not so much here. So I do always like, generally speaking, I like to move it a little bit just to keep that randomness going. But then I'm going to turn it and drop it down so that the side that doesn't really have any green or not much is on the top. There we go. So now I'm just going to repeat that little bit of green that we did before. There we go. So that is our daisy colourway complete. I'm going to just turn up the heat, just make sure that that water is really at the simmering point, which it is. It's started to bubble already. You know, the water was really, really hot. So I will just let that simmer away for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the heat off, and then I will pop it outside to cool down. So there we go, that's our first and main colourway all dyed up, and it's cooling down outside. So come back in part 2 when we're going to dye up the coordinating minis, and then we're going to get to the knitting. So I'll see you back soon.
It's such a classic scene, isn't it? Daisies are the friendliest flower.
I know.
And it looks like such a friendly colourway.
Yes.
Can't wait to see it all dried and knitted up into the sock.
I know.
And
Me neither.
Very excited about the contrasting yarn.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. In part 2, Kay will be dyeing that contrasting yarn and last bit of knitting. Finishing off, well, knitting the toe.
Yeah.
And then weaving in some ends.
I know.
First time ever, I think we've shown that on the show.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So look, less waffle and more action, because I'm sure there's plenty of you. I bet there's some people who skipped. They've skipped to this point.
Oh, no, maybe
they didn't, because they wouldn't have known. They've had to watch it all because they didn't know when we were going to talk about the crochet jelly roll.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hold them off.
Oh.
Normally I would jump in now and show my...
Oh, right.
But instead, it's time for Kay to show her pick of the projects.
Yes, I'm going first. Baby. Well, I've started another crochet jelly roll.
Yes.
And this is something a bit different.
Yes.
But first of all, I want to show you my bag that it's in, because I love this bag. It's one of my favourites. I've shown you this bag before, but I made this bag. And this is a cross stitch that I stitched. When did I make this? A couple of years ago, year ago? Can't remember. But yeah, I stitched this lovely Christmas jumper. This was a caterpillar cross stitch design, I believe, but I changed all the colours because I wanted a pink jumper. So I changed the colours. Isn't it fantastic? I loved stitching this. It was really lovely. And do you know what? I've been stitching Bryony's UFO that I showed you on the last episode. I've been stitching it every single evening, haven't I, without fail. And I'm really getting on with it. But it's made me really appreciate other cross-stitch things that I've done, because it's really finicky, you know. It is really finicky, the one I'm doing, but I'm doing it, I'm getting there, and I'm hoping to have it done for a birthday, actually. So if I don't have the actual thing here when I finish it, I'll make sure we take some video. But anyway. It's
really funny because Kay is cross-stitching in I Want to Believe.
Yeah.
And last night she said, I want to be finished.
I'm doing the letters underneath where it says I want to believe, you know, it's from the poster, and I'd put I want to, and I was like, to finish, oh! But I will get there, I'm determined. But this one was a joy. I loved stitching this. And then I patchworked it into this gorgeous pink bag with lots of Liberty quilting cotton. So in this lovely bag, I have got my second crochet jelly roll. So I had an idea for a different type of crochet jelly roll. You know, the pattern is exactly the same. The only thing I'm doing differently is each of my strips is all one yarn. Did I mention this last time? I might have. And once again, I'm going with an autumnal theme because, I don't know, the colours are just so beautiful, aren't they? And even if it comes to in the spring, maybe I'm not going to want to, I might have finished it by then, but I doubt it. But if I don't want to work on these autumnal themed colours, I'm just going to pop it away and I'm going to bring it out again in probably August, and then I will love all the colours again. Oh, it's such a joy. So this, I know, I'm so excited about this one. So I'll show you where I'm up to first of all. So I'm on my second strip. So my first strip was in this gorgeous, this most beautiful brown. Look at that. Is that not just the most beautiful, rich autumnal brown? And then now I'm doing this green. Oh, I just love it so much. What I did with the first strip, I knew from making my original jelly roll that I used about 80 grams of yarn for the first strip. So my idea was that I would just crochet that first strip, maybe a bit longer than my original blanket, because I knew I'd have a bit more yarn in my one skein to do that, because it's yarn held double. So here's my leftovers. So I just kept going until I got, I think these skeins, I'll tell you about the yarn in a minute that I'm using, but they actually weigh heavy. I've weighed one and they were 110 grams, these skeins, that's good, isn't it? So I knew that I'd got more in terms of weight. So I just kept going until I'd got about 15 grams of each left. And I knew then that meant that I'd actually crocheted about 85 grams, is that right? 85 plus 15. Can't do maths. I just kept going until it was long enough, and it is a bit longer than my original one. So this was my first strip all the way up to here, look. And then here's where I started the second. So the yarns that I'm using right now are pixie yarn, because I already had a bunch of kind of autumnal colours in my stash, and then I got a few more from her. She probably thought I was insane when she saw the order, Sophie. She probably was like, what on earth is she doing with all of this autumnal yarn? Well, this is what I'm doing. So the first colour, the brown that I used, I'm keeping the tags and I'm numbering them so that I know when I finish this, I'll be able to know all of the colours that I've put in there. And isn't it a beautiful way of showing off all of these yarns? So the first one is called Mother Nature, that beautiful brown, very appropriate. And the second one, this green, is called Silky Wool Feather Moss. So it must be the colour of a particular moss. I love it.
You should segue into the fact that you have finished one.
That I finished it.
You
Do you
should
want to
show
see
it, and then you should tell them all about the process and tell them the release date.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the second one I'm working on. Exactly the same as the first one. I'm just not changing colours. Okay. And it's all going to be autumnal colours. This is the next one I'm going to use. I'll show you this and then I'll show you the finished blanket. So the next one I've chosen is a one of a kind called Mystical Forest. And it's just this gorgeous kind of moody purples going into grey. So that's going to be my next one. And look how lovely that's going to look next to the green. I'm just choosing each colour as I've completed the strip and just seeing, I was showing you that back to front. It looks just as nice on the back, to be fair. I'm just choosing them as I go along. So when I've done this one, I'll go to my stash and decide what the next one will be. So yes, let's show you the finished one, shall we? And this travelled with us to York, actually. I took the pattern photographs in York. Here we go. So the crochet jelly roll is finished and it's rather large and very, very beautiful. This one I did in rainbow formation with added pink, of course, because you've got to have some pink. And then I repeated it twice, that rainbow sequence. So in case you've never seen this before, the crochet jelly roll, as you've seen with the second one I'm making, you construct it in strips using linen stitch or moss stitch, I think it's called as well. This one, I've changed colours within the strip, or changed shades within the strip, I should say. And then you add the next strip by joining to the preceding one. So it's worked as you go. At the end of every row, you join it, turn around, work across, join it, turn around, work across. So very similar to the knitted jelly roll, but this is obviously crochet. This one is fingering weight held double because I just wanted this one to be cozier, if you like, a bit thicker than the knitted jelly roll. It just also gave me the opportunity to use lots and lots and lots of yarn and to blend them, which I really like, holding them double. I really like choosing two yarns that are going to go together, so it gave me the fun element of doing that as well. So yeah, that's what you do. You construct in strips, bottom to top for all of them. You work the first strip to the length of blanket you want, but saying that, you can put your stitch on hold, start your second strip, and then go back to your first one to add more length if you want to. That's really easy to do. And you just work your way across, working in strips. you then add a lovely border at the end of it. It's really quick. I completed this blanket in 3 months, I think it was. I think I started this in June, finished it end of September, end of September, I think, beginning of October. So it took me just round about 3 months. And I wasn't continuously working on it, I was picking it up, working on other stuff, doing all the things. So it's much quicker than the knitted jelly roll, but that is just crochet in general, isn't it? Crochet is quicker than knitting. And I just love it. I spent such a long time working on every aspect of it because this is my first crochet design and I'd never written a crochet pattern before. I've never designed a crochet pattern. I went through every possible kind of combination of doing things, like when you change yarn, how many ways of doing that are there, and where can I change, and all of these sorts of things. I really went through every possibility, and then I chose the one that for me looked the best, but not only looked the best, but then made it the most straightforward to then go forward from that point, if you know what I mean. I was thinking of not only what it would look like, but also then, for example, when you change yarns on the first strip, you do it slightly differently to all of the strips going forward, because at that point you've only got that one strip. So you change it slightly differently, and I changed it in a way that made picking up on that edge still really nice, but also when you come to do the border, it's not affected by any ends. All of these sorts of things, I really, honestly, I can't think of any aspect of it that I didn't really sit down and work through every possible iteration that I could think of and that I thought was possible. And then the border, what I wanted for the border, you continue in with the linen stitch, and you do 3 rounds for the border, and you do it with 2 different colours. You could just use one colour if you wanted a solid look to your border. But I'll show you the swatch. Let me just pop this one down a second. Because in the videos...
How many videos are there?
I think there's 8.
Yeah. But it literally covers every aspect.
It covers everything.
Yeah, and you've obviously you'll talk about the test knitting in a minute, but you had test knitters saying that you'd covered...
Crocheters, yeah.
Sorry, test crocheters. You'd covered all the aspects of the making of the blanket within the videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the swatch that I created for the videos when we were filming all of the videos. So this is the swatch that I did. So effectively, this is just like a mini version of the blanket. It's this kind of a swatch that I asked my testers to do initially because it's quick to do and it would give me all the information I needed as to whether the pattern works, if there's any issues, all of that. So that's the process that we've almost gone through now. For this border, you can see I did orange and green, and it just looks lovely. And I'm just really pleased with how the border came out. I just love looking at this blanket because it's just so pretty. And this is the back. If you're interested to know what it looks like on the reverse, this is what it looks like on the reverse side. And it's just so neat. It's completely flat here. There's no ridges at all. Completely flat, really neat, and you just get these teeny cute little blips of colour, which I really like. I mean, I think this side is just as pretty as the front side, to be honest. So yes, we are almost now to the end of testing. I had some lovely ladies who have helped me out with the testing. I had one crocheter in there who, although she knew how to crochet, she hadn't crocheted for many, many, many years. So that was really useful to have someone who is not familiar with crochet on a day-to-day basis. You know, she doesn't actively crochet. So that was really good information to get. And then I've had some more experienced crocheters as well. And we're almost through that process now. I'm just waiting for 1 or 2 other little bits of feedback. And yeah, I mean, from essentially, there was nothing really wrong with the pattern. I haven't changed, you know, from when I sent it out to the testers, the actual written pattern and the videos were all fine. The things that I've sort of tweaked were things like the way that I'd written abbreviations or just adding in a little bit of extra detail here and there, things like that. So I have made quite a lot of kind of tweaks and adjustments, and getting this feedback has been really, really useful and really helpful. So the pattern is, I'll explain how it works. If you've ever knitted something from one of my knitted patterns, it will be very familiar to you, the way that I've written this. I've basically just written it the way that I write a knitted pattern. And then the videos accompany it. So although all the information is in the written pattern, I think crochet is one of those things, particularly I've found, that people like to see a visual of. So I think what I've found with the testers is they'll read it and then they'll go and watch the video, and then it's fine. So it might be that you need you're the type of person who would really need the videos, because sometimes the videos are just like an added extra, aren't they, and you don't necessarily need them. I think with this, I think they are really key to the whole thing, that you read the pattern. I would really suggest that you read all the way through the pattern, and then you start it, you read the first section, you watch the video for that relevant section, and then you can go ahead and start it. So it's all gone really well, actually. I didn't know how the testing would go. I didn't know how well the pattern would read, all of those sorts of things, but it's all gone really quite smoothly. So thank you to all the ladies that's helped me out with this. So all that to say, I'm going to release this pattern on the 30th of October. So Halloween, basically, day before Halloween. I just thought that would be really fun, because our next video show comes out on Halloween. So I just thought that would be fun. So I'm going to publish it the day before that next video show goes out. Yeah, so very, very excited, yes, and very nervous and very... all of the verys, I think, for this. Yeah. But I've got a lot more confidence in it than I had, 4 weeks ago, before I started the test knitting and had sort of really finished the pattern. And I started another one, and I'm working from the pattern. I'm not changing yarns, obviously, but other than that, I'm working from the pattern, because I do that a lot with my patterns. I will, for example, when it's a sock pattern, I'll knit one sock, I'll go and write the pattern, and then I'll knit the second sock reading the pattern. And I find that method for me works really well. So I've sort of maintained that method with this, the second one, and I am reading the pattern and I'm following the pattern. And yeah, so... amazing. Yes, very 30th exciting.
Of October.
30th of October, everybody. You'll be able to get your hands on a crochet jelly roll. I'm going to talk about one other thing to do with the crochet jelly roll in Endy Bits, so do stick around to listen to that, because it's a very exciting something. Yeah.
So carrying on from that excitement, yes, there is more excitement, because what is my pick of the projects?
Yes.
It's my Albion. And why is it my pick of the projects? Because I've just been knitting round and round, and he's shown it before, and isn't it boring? Not anymore, because I'm knitting flat.
Yes.
Not only that, I'm shaping. So I'm shaping for armholes, and I'm knitting flat. So that means for the first time in a long time, I'm having to do knits when it's pearls and pearls when it's knits.
Yeah.
And also as well...
it's a different ball game, isn't it?
It's a very different ball game. And also the instructions, I'll be honest, for lining up the pattern weren't great. And so I just trust my instincts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the business. I was like, oh my goodness...
which you should have just done
the
hour before we started talking about it.
Should just trust my instincts, because I just did it and it lines up. And if you go on Ravelry and you look at some of the projects, some people just gave up because the instructions aren't clear at all for lining up
they're not.
The pattern.
They're really not.
I just used my brain, and it sounds so silly. Of course I used my brain, and it totally worked. And it's like, I just feel so like,
Well, yeah, and it didn't even say anything about maintaining the pattern as you do the decreases. Nothing.
I know I'm silly because, there'll be like virtually everyone who's watching is like, oh yeah, I knit flat all the time. Well, I don't knit flat all the time. So, for me, that's like such a big thing. And credit to all of you because it does make me feel very clever.
Yeah, and I have made garments that are knitted flat, and traditionally, my mum, that's how she made things. You knit everything flat and you seam it together, and I still prefer that method, if I'm honest, because with this type of construction, you've got to change from one thing to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing. Just think, isn't it easier just to knit a sleeve and knit another sleeve and a back and a front and sew it together? I think
personally, I feel more confident in sizing this way because you're reliant on measurements.
Yeah, I get that.
With this, doing it this way,
you can see the item, can't you?
You can see where it's going to drop on you.
I do understand that, yeah.
And also as well, once you know that the right counts for you to get the fit that you want around the body, because for me, a garment is all about the fit around here. If you mess that up, then you're sort of going to look like a sack of potatoes. And so that's the reason why I was so keen to make sure that I kept the patterning consistent at the top, because without that, it would have given a different texture for just plain knit. And it probably, I know it would have looked a little baggy. And the reason why I know is you could see it on some people.
Yeah, it was.
And it was
we
just
saw
a bit
one
baggy.
and the fella wearing it, and it was huge on him.
Yeah.
It was way too big.
So for me, I think this is cool. Body in the round. Okay, then split it off. Because, I like doing new things. Yeah. And I know I've done it before, but I've not done it a lot before. And look what I've been doing.
Sewing in ends?
I've been
been
weaving in ends whilst we've been...
just now?
Yes.
Oh, good man.
I was just doing it whilst you were talking about your crochet jelly roll.
Yeah.
I was very happy. So that is my pick of the projects. And I'm as you can see, I'm wired knitting this. It's like the business.
I do like the texture. I do love a knit purl texture.
Yeah.
You can do such a lot with knits and pearls, can't you? I think it's amazing.
I really, really must say that, and I said the same when I knitted the Cascades, and it's the same with the Albion, and it's not Michelle Wong, it's the formatting that's used for the Brooklyn Tweed patterns.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's really hard to read.
It is.
And it's also written in a way which, for me, feels like at times they use 20 words when one or two would do.
Yeah.
And it just makes it challenging. Yeah. But it's sort of exciting challenging because it's like you're selling forth into the unknown. Not something you should ever say when you're knitting from a pattern. You should feel like you're selling forth into something that you've read and you understand. But no, with this, it does require a certain amount of instinct.
It really did, and I've read a lot of patterns, and...
You just read it and you just go...
I was like, right, I need to sit down with a cup of tea and just look at this a minute because it was blowing my mind. And I still didn't fully understand it at the end. And luckily you just said, look, I'm just going to go with my instinct and do what I said. And we didn't follow the instructions for the shaping because I don't understand it. I still don't understand what she wanted you to do here. Going up, I just said, look, let's just do it this way and it works.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that's going to have to seam it. So, it's fine.
Yeah, it's working great.
Yeah.
Look, that's our pick of the projects. Now it's time for... Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
Well, you've already seen one momentous thing off my needle. Off my hook.
And you've got to save that till later.
And I've got to save that off my needles.
So there's only one little one.
For a little bit later. So I've now only got to show you one thing at the moment. And I love these. It's a pair of socks. And they're Fairground socks. Oh, but it's this pair. Do you remember? Oh, I love these. So it's a little shorty pair of socks.
They're really gorgeous.
And these are using a stripy cat yarn.
Who are they for?
And I'll just say what the yarn is. It's the one, she did a Harry Potter series, and this is book 1. So this is Philosopher's Stone. And I don't have the book anymore to show you because this was exciting. So I had the original cover, Harry Potter's, just softbacks, book 1 and 2, and then when Bryony started reading them, the covers had changed, and it was the ones that are more common now that I don't really like, but all of the rest of hers had that cover. But she was in a charity shop in York recently, so she's got the 2 already, the first 2. She saw all of the others with the original covers, and they were like £2 each. in really good condition.
Bargain.
So she sent me a text and she's like, what do I do? I said, oh, just get them. So she bought them, and then she's now got the 2 that were here, and she's got them all stacked up on her shelf, all of them. So she was just thrilled. I said, you're going to have to start a reread now, you've got all those. So yeah, these socks I knit originally for me because I showed Bryony this yarn and she's like, it's okay, but you can have that. I said, oh, fine, no problem. But now I've finished them, I kind of think she'd like them.
I think you should keep them.
You want me to keep them? Do you think I should keep them?
I do.
Oh, maybe I'll keep them then. I was thinking that I'd give them to Bryony, but maybe I should keep them now.
Yeah, because she said.
She did say. I showed her the yarn.
You love them.
I do love them.
So you should keep them.
I'm going to keep them.
Because you've got some on the go for her, haven't
Are you all
you?
shouting, yay, Kay's going to keep those socks?
You should.
I do really love them. And I didn't use
It's
all
not
of
like
the
you're
yarn.
stealing something from her because she said you
She
keep
did
them.
say you can have those ones,
Yeah.
which was very kind. I'm
So
going to keep them.
Do.
So yeah, Fairground pattern with the butterfly heel again, which is just brilliant. I love it. Little shorties, and they're just beautiful. I really love them. So I'm going to keep them.
Yay!
I tend to just give everything away.
No, you've got to keep
because I
those.
always think I don't matter and I'd rather someone else
Well,
have
it's
something
my job to make sure.
than me. But
So-
I'm going to keep them.
You keep them.
Yippee, socks for
very
me. I'm going to wear these on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Decided.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, right. This is it. One final time. One final visit with Kay for My Perfect Socks. We're going to be doing that contrasting yarn, and it's epic, and then knitting that toe. So let's get back and find out how this wonderful series finishes.
Welcome back everybody to My Perfect Socks. So our main colour is now all done. It's time now to dye up the coordinating colour. So we're going to get to that, we're going to get it dyed up, and then excitedly it'll be time to sit down, we're going to have a chat about the socks, and then we're going to get to the knitting. Okay, so here we go with our minis. I've got about a third full of water. My pot's about a third full with another scoop of the citric acid, and that's heating up nicely. So I'm going to get my dye into the pot. So as we've already had a chat about, I'd already decided actually with this particular colourway what the mini was going to be, because it was very specific to that scene. So I've got the colourway that I'm going to use to produce this sort of trench coat colour is the fawn. It's Dharma Dye's fawn. So I'm going to get some dye into the pot. Now, when I did this colour, when I sort of dyed up this colour originally, just to test if this was the right dye to use, I actually wanted to produce a trench coat colour which was a little bit darker than the one she wears in the film, because it's a very pale beige, and I wanted to get a little bit more of a deeper colour for the trench coat. Mainly the reason because Bryony's got a trench coat and I've sort of got that in my head. So it's a bit more of a deeper colour. And I'm going to use probably just under a half a teaspoon of the fawn. So let's get that in. It's quite alarming when it goes in, you know, it is, although when you think of fawn, you think of like that soft brown colour, don't you? But when it first goes in, it is quite a deep brown. There's quite a lot of red in this brown, I think. Can you see? I don't know if you can see, but I can certainly see as it dissolves into the water that it's a very reddish brown. It's a really pretty colour. So let's give that a stir. It's a very autumnal shade in there, isn't it? Let's just have a look. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be okay. So just really stir it in. We want to get rid of all of those dye particles so that we just get a nice tonal. So now we're going to get our minis in. Yeah, look, you can see it's not too dark of a shade initially when you just drop it in. So let's get that in quite rapidly. and give it a little swizz around. And then I'm going to give it a move and drop it back in. And move that around until that dye's disappeared. It'll literally take seconds because there's not really a lot of dye in there. And then I'm just going to decide if it needs to be just a smidge darker. It's a really pretty shade, but I think it needs to be a little bit darker. This is a bit pale. It's a lovely colour, but it's a bit pale. So I am just going to add a little bit more of the fawn, but then I'm going to do something a bit radical because I've just had a thought about how I can make this more of the colour that I'm imagining. So first of all, I'm just going to take this out and just pop it into my bowl. And I'm just going to put in a little bit more of the fawn because first of all, I want this to be a bit of a deeper colour. So I'm just going to put in a tiny, not too much. There we go. Right, so I'm going to get that yarn back in and just make this a little bit of a deeper shade of that fawny brown. So just straight in and give that a wiggle around. Move it a little bit, that's better. Because I just feel like this shade is not quite right and it needs to be a bit more on the yellow side of brown. This fawn colour, I think, leans to the sort of pinkish shade. Do you know what I mean with that? Because when I said, didn't I, when I was looking into the pot, I could see lots of red. So I'm going to pop it back in there. And what I'm going to do is put in a bit of chamomile. I'm just going to go with about 1/4 of a spoon. And let's just see what colour that creates in the pot. I just want to knock back that pink shade that we've got going on there. And that needs to be a little bit more. So just another, you know, maybe all together in there now there might be 1/3 of a teaspoon. But let's just see what that does in terms of creating more of a, I can't even describe, you know, like when you see camel coats back in the day, they do lean a bit more yellow, don't they? And this at the moment is definitely a bit pink. So let's just see what happens. I'm just going to dump it in and we'll see. I mean, it might not be enough to make a difference. We might need a bit more. Oh, I mean, I can see that that has changed it. So I'm just going to keep wiggling that around until that yellow is dissipated. This is a bit more of a complicated mini, isn't it? It's normally just in the pot and done. Yeah, you see, that is looking more like the colour that I'm thinking of. But I do feel like it even needs a bit more yellow. So I'm going with about the same amount that I did before. And I think we should be good with that. So let's give that a stir. So let's give this one more dunk in there. So just straight in and a wiggle around. Yeah, that's definitely more of the shade I want. Oh, that's lovely. So I'm happy with that now. That's more of the trench coat colour I had in mind. I'm just going to turn up the heat, bring that to simmering, let it simmer for 10 minutes, and then I'll pop it outside to cool down with our main colour. So that's our yarn all dry and ready to be knitted. So it's time now to get it skeined up and get that yarn on our needles. So here we go with our beautiful yarns. Oh, and they've just turned out so gorgeous. So first of all, I love this mini. I've just got one of them here. The way that that came out, you know, adding in that yellow really just completely changed it from that kind of pale pinkish beigey brownie to this gorgeous, rich, sort of camel-y colour. You know, my mum used to wear a camel coat back in the day, in the like 70s and 80s, and that was a wool coat, not a trench coat, like a wool one. But this is just the colour it reminds me of, and I think that's what I had in my head. When I saw Meg Ryan wearing that trench coat, it sort of took me back to the days of camel coats. You know, that's what we always used to call them, because they were sort of camel coloured wool. But our main colour is just gorgeous. It's this beautiful tonal yellow. We've got some deep yellows going on, but then also really soft, pale, buttery sort of background to it. And then there's little pops of green. So it's just perfect for what I was after, and a lovely way to finish the socks, you know, in this bright golden yellow, just gorgeous. So let's get this unfurled and onto our Swift, and for the last time this year we're going to wind it. Okay, let's find the one that's coming from the outside. There we go. Fingers crossed, everyone, that my ball winder doesn't let me down. And we're away. Okay, that went well. Slow and steady with this ball winder. It does not like it when I just get bored and angry and start winding, you know, like super fast, because I just want to get it done. So I've learned to go a little bit slower, and you know, pretty much always it's fine. And that wound actually really well. Oh, it's lovely. It's made those kind of crisscrossy holes, but it's wound beautifully, and we can now, my goodness, we're finally there. We're finally at that moment when we're going to start knitting the toe on our socks. Okay, so here we go then. We've got our socks and we've got our yarn all ready. But before I start knitting my toe, I just thought I would bring in the minis and let's have a final look. Now, one thing that I've done actually since the last time you saw these is I had, if you remember, I had 2 of each of all of these. What I've done in the meantime is I took one set of them, so one set of the 12, and I actually made a 12 days of Christmas little advent calendar for a family member. What it means is that this one here was wound up already. So one of this colour had been wound up, because Dan was going to use this for heels and toes and then didn't, thankfully. But this one's already wound, so that's the only difference with this particular set that I've got here. And this is all our others. I mean, I've no idea how I would arrange these. Do you know, if I was going to knit something, you could go light to dark, you could try and do a rainbow, but we've got quite a few kind of random colours that wouldn't fit into a natural rainbow. I mean, let's just try. So we start off with red, don't we? And we'll put pink with red, orange, yellow, green, blue. You see, would I put the grey there with the blues? Maybe. And then you get into the sort of more purpley shades. So would we do something like that? With that one last, or maybe that one last? Maybe. I mean, that's quite pretty, isn't it? I do quite like that. I don't know what I'm going to do with these right now, but I'm just going to keep them. And then something I know will crop up at some point where I'm going to need 12 minis, I'm sure. And these will come in very handy. So yeah, there we go. That's all of our minis. Let's pop those out of the way for now and bring in our socks. So first of all, what I'm going to do is get going on my toe with one of the socks. So I'm going to be knitting my umbrella toe. It's, to be honest, it's pretty much the only toe I think I ever knit these days. I do occasionally also do my cottage toe, which is a more of a traditional kind of rounded wedge where you decrease on either side. But my umbrella toe is, it's probably one of my most popular elements of my sock patterns, I think. I don't know that I certainly have never had any feedback that it doesn't fit someone well, and I know a lot of people absolutely love this umbrella toe. So the way that it works is you have decreases all the way around the sock, and then you knit some plain rows and then some more decreases, more plain rows, and it just uses a knit two together. So it's brilliant, and I know it off by heart now, so I don't even need to get the pattern, you know, I've done it that many times. So I've got my sock ready here. So what I'm going to do actually before I start knitting my toe is I'm just going to knit one plain round, because with the umbrella toe, the first round has got decreases on it, and what I don't want to happen is I don't want the decreases to happen within this last stripe. So if I just go straight in now and start knitting with my new yarn and start working some knit two togethers, they're going to happen within this colour. So quite often what I do and what I tell you to do in my patterns is just to knit one plain round with your toe colour and then start the decreases. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get going and one plain round, like I said, and then I'll be into my decreases. So if you're following along with me, if you've got one of my patterns that has one of my toes in it, you could choose to do that, or you can just pop in whatever your favourite toe decreases are. So there we go, I'm off and running and starting on the toe of our lovely socks. So let's pop this one to one side now we've got that going, and bring in our other sock. So to show you what I do to weave in, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to weave the ends in here with this colour change between the pink and then this lovely bright variegated. And you can see at the moment where we've changed colour, you have a little hole. So we're going to sort that out. I'm going to show you how I do it. So to do that, I'm just going to turn this portion inside out just so we can get at those tails. There we go. So what you'll have is your starting tail, which I normally just weave up part of the rib here. And then we've got two tails here where we started with the pink. That one is a bit more awkward to show because it's closer to the top, but it's the same technique that I'm going to show you here. So this is where I'm going to show you. So we've got a pink tail and we've got this variegated colour. So I'm going to grab a tapestry needle. So we're going to weave these two in. Now to do this, I always turn my sock this way up so that I'm working in the direction that we knit the sock. So let's just get that orientated. There we go. You wouldn't normally obviously have your needle there, so just ignore that. And we're just concentrating on these two tails here. So we've got one on the right and one on the left. So I'm going to take the one that's on the right and pop that onto my needle. I'm just going to pop my hand underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my tapestry needle through that purl bump where this yarn is coming out of. So just pop that underneath like that. Pull it through, but I'm not going to pull it tight. I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to take this tail and do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to find that purl bump where this one is coming out of, pop it underneath, and then pull through. So I can leave that one on the needle now. So what I will now do is snug up that first one and snug up the second one. And can you see what's happened? We've completely closed that hole, and essentially, you know, we've swapped over the two yarns, meaning that we've created that kind of missing stitch here, the missing purl bump underneath, by swapping them over, and that's completely closed up the hole, and I don't think you could even really tell. So now all you need to do is weave in your yarn into the relevant section. So this is the pink one that belongs down here, so I'll do that one and then you just do the other one in the same way. So what I tend to do is find the next sort of purl bump down here that's in the correct section, and just first of all put my needle through there and get it down. Don't pull your yarn too tight when you do this. And now I can weave it along this section. You can do this however you would normally do. You know, sometimes I'll just go kind of in and out of one row. Sometimes I will go kind of up at an angle. So let's do that this time. So I would go like underneath that purl bump and then underneath that, so that you're at an angle going to the right here. Pull that through, and then we will follow that around and then find the next purl bumps that go down in that direction. And then just do the same thing, follow that around, and this time we're going up in this direction. Back round and down through those purl bumps. And I would just continue doing that for, I don't know, maybe 12 stitches, you know, whatever you think is enough to secure your end nicely. So we'll just do a couple more, and I think that'll be enough, and then we can trim it. There we go, that'll be absolutely fine. So we've probably done that for, I don't know, 1.5 inches, something like that. So you can go a bit further if you want to, but that, for me, that'll be fine. So then you take the end off, and then I'll just snip it, but I don't snip it really close like that. I would snip it, leaving a bit of a tail. And then when I've washed them and given them a block, I'll go back and just snip that a bit closer. But I even then wouldn't go really close to the fabric because it does suck back in. I would always leave a little tail. And then I've never, touch wood, had an end come undone. So that's how you would weave in all your ends. And if we look to the front now, there you go. You can see that that hole is completely closed up and it looks super neat and tidy. So there we go then. That's how I weave in my ends on the colour changes. And we've started on our toe of our socks. Very, very exciting with this beautiful colour. So there we have it. That's the final colour for my perfect socks, and I've almost got a perfect pair of socks. I'm going to knit my toes, I'm going to weave in those ends, I'm going to give them a nice soak. They definitely need a soak because they've been hanging around for what? Nearly 10 months now, haven't they? Or probably is 10 months. Most importantly, can't wait to get them on my feet. Now these will probably go into my sock stash, so it might be that I don't wear these until December, but that will be a real treat, won't it? Maybe I'll save them for Christmas Eve or something and pop them on. Oh, that'd be so lovely. So yeah, I'm very excited to get knitting these toes. I really hope that if you've been following along with me and knitting your own socks, whether you've been dyeing the yarns or whether you've just been picking yarns out of your stash and knitting a beautiful pair of socks, I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've just been watching, then thank you also for keeping me company in this journey. It's been such a lot of fun. I've so enjoyed it, and it's just been so nice to work on these slowly, because I think sometimes it's nice, isn't it, to force yourself to be a bit slower with things, and that's been really nice. So that's us finished for my perfect socks. My goodness, oh, so excited. But what I'm more excited about now is looking forward to next year. So if you are wondering what I'm going to be doing next year, then you need to keep your eyes peeled, because there will be a special trailer coming out before the end of the year, so do watch out for that. I can tell you right now, you're going to love it, and I can't wait to get started on it. But for now, thank you all so much for joining me on my perfect socks journey. Get knitting your socks, get finishing them off, and yeah, can't wait to get these finished and on my feet.
So that's it, the end of an absolutely wonderful journey.
Yay! Yay, they're
And the
finished.
socks are here.
They're finished. Look at them, everybody.
They do look wonderful. I mean, they genuinely.
Look at those toes. Aren't they fun? Oh, I'm so pleased with them.
And what memories. And what a wonderful sort of tangible thing that reminds you of that wonderful film that you love so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a great achievement if you
I
think about it.
really love them.
You set out at the start of this year with a plan.
Yes.
And here is
I know.
the fruits of your labours.
Aren't they fun and lovely? You've got to love scrappy socks. They're just... well, they're not even scrappy, are they? They're not scraps because we dyed all of these
through and
yarns.
matched.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I gave these a lovely soak and all of that little, where they sit on the needles, and I was moaning about that it bugged me. It's all disappeared as I thought it would, and they just look beautiful now. Ends woven in, everything, all beautifully done. So there's that yarn look that we dyed. And I've actually got a second set right here. There's the trench coat colour.
Superb.
Which is just lovely.
Yeah.
And I've got this and I've got another sock set up there, which was from the series. I don't know whether this went with this one. I couldn't remember. This one is Brinkley is my dog. But I couldn't remember what mini I dyed with it. But I know that this is one of the ones I dyed as a trial. So I'm going to put that with that. And I'm donating these sock sets to Dr. Sarah. Our lovely friend Dr. Sarah, who is Sherlock Knits on Instagram. She's doing a marathon next year, the London Marathon, and she was she's doing like a sponsored run for Marie Curie, which is where she works. And I said I'd donate a couple of sock sets as prizes, so I'm going to put ball bands on these. I'll send these off to Sarah, and then these will be one of the prizes for. Is that classed as a raffle? It's a raffle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those ones will be used. And I thought, because they're yellow themed and Marie Curie's symbol is a daffodil, so I thought they would work lovely.
That's so wonderful.
Yes.
And my goodness, it is such an interesting time of year, because this is the time of year where we say goodbye.
I know.
To so many things.
Absolutely.
So what happens now? Well, after one more trip to Holy Island, in a very special episode with lots of appearances from Kay along the way, it's going to be absolutely wonderful. It's time for us to get into our winter programming. So we've got 2 episodes of winter walks on the way.
Yes.
Started this series last year with a walk around Castle Howard. This year we've got 2 episodes for you. 2 wonderful episodes, 2 great walks in 2 completely different places, and they're coming up through November. And then in our Christmas special, Kay's Handmade Christmas is back. Oh yes, it's going to be absolutely wonderful.
It really is.
It really is a special episode, very special location, and you're going to absolutely love it.
Yes.
But if you're wondering what is Kay going to bring you next year, she touched on it a little bit in the episode, but you need to look out for... First of all, the series will begin. Kay's new series will begin on the 2nd of January, 2026.
Yeah.
Because that's when our first episode goes out.
Yes.
So 2nd of January, Kay's very first episode of her new series. But we will release at some point before the end of 2025 a little teaser trailer to let you know what's on the way. But it's absolutely wonderful what's coming up.
It really is. You're gonna really, really love it.
It sort of picks up on something that Kay's been loving, and I won't say too much because it'll give it away, but we're going to pull together lots of elements of things which over the years we know you've loved, and it's going to be a brand new series, and it starts on the 2nd of January.
It does.
And now it's time for the Endy Bits.
Endy Bits!
So the next patron-only show is coming up on Sunday the 26th of October, and newsflash, it's live at 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Yes.
So the clocks change.
Go back.
On that day.
That day, in the early hours of that day.
So 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, or you can watch any time you like from 3:20 p.m.
Yeah.
It will be our Sockoween Spectacular episode, because it's sort of towards the end of Sockoween, so there'll be loads of sort of seasonal sort of treats. We'll be looking at lots of amazing Sockoween projects, and there'll be all sorts of sort of fun, spooky goings on in that episode, which will be absolutely marvellous.
Well,
you've got something to show.
Yes.
Some yarn that
I do. I've got something to show and something to tell you. I recently decided to subscribe to Row 1 Yarns. Now, I've been aware of Row 1 Yarns for many, many months, if not years, and always resisted subscribing because a lot of you will probably know what this club is, but I just had loads of minis and leftovers myself, and I thought, it's shipping from America and all of that. But I decided to subscribe because we're going to be running a knit along in January, right? And I know that it's only October, but it's going to be upon us in no time, isn't it? And the knit along, I don't know quite where to start. I'm just going to tell you what the knit along is going to be. The knit along is going to be called Jelly Roll January. And we're going to be doing a knit along for the month of January for either of my Jelly Roll patterns. So you can work on the crochet one, you can work on the knitted one, whatever you want to do, but it's Jelly Roll January. So basically, we're just going to work on our Jelly Roll blankets all through January.
And of course, works in progress.
Works in progress are absolutely allowed. It doesn't matter what stage you're at with either of the blankets. Pull them out of hibernation. If it's the knitted one, pull it out. The crochet one probably won't be in hibernation because it's a new pattern, or will be a new pattern. So pull them out, work on your blankets in January. And, we'll have some prizes at the end. So it's just a fun knit along, really, to officially, I suppose, launch the Crochet Jelly Roll. I wanted to do a knit along, but putting it out at this time of year, I know that a lot of people will be working on Christmas knits through November and December. So I didn't want to interfere with that. And January is just one of these months, isn't it, that a lot of people don't enjoy January. It's dark, it's cold, it's nothing much to look forward to. It just is one of those months. I've never really enjoyed it. But having something to look forward to like this in January, I just think will be fantastic. So for that, because both of these blankets are worked with minis and leftovers and scraps and all of that, I just wanted to have some lovely new pretty things available to me and also to use as a prize. So I subscribed to this and then started to just have lovely conversations with Laura at Row One Yarns, and she very kindly, when I got my first subscription, which I just received this week, she also sent me another one. So I think with her subscription you can get either one which has got 10 minis in, or you can get like a double and there's 20 minis from the same dyer. So she very kindly sent me an extra which I'm going to use as a prize for the knit along. So if I get another subscription, any other subscriptions that I get in the meantime, if she sends me another one, then I'll use those as prizes as well. Or however we work it, there's going to be a prize, at least one prize from Laura. And then there will also be a similar sort of thing from another dyer, which I'm going to show you next time. But this one is mine. Oh, haven't opened it yet. And the dyer for this one is called Frogget Yarns. And you get 10 gram minis all wound and ready to go. I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted, aren't I? Because you'll all know about this particular maker. But Laura is absolutely fabulous. We've been having lots of conversations. She's really excited about the Crochet Jelly Roll, which is just lovely. And it's just so nice to have this as a prize. I think it's just such a beautiful prize. So there'll be another one as well, like I said, and I'll talk about that in the next show, and I will show you that one in the next show. So yeah, Jelly Roll January, everybody. So you can cast on and start and work on your blankets now, and then look forward to just joining in with everyone in January and just knitting our way through that gloomy month.
Right, that's it. So the 100-acre blanket is out.
Yes.
Now. The Crochet Jelly Roll, you now know, will be released on the 30th of October.
Next show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And so the next show is on the 31st of October, isn't it?
Yes, but it'll be out then, is what I mean, yeah.
So it's out 30th of October, and then we see you for a show on the 31st of October.
Yeah.
And that will feature the very last story of Holy Island. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with more.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Who's it sitting and knitting? It's standing
2 for 23 for a girl that can never come back. Did you used to watch that?
No.
Bryony hates this. She hates anything that's got holes all over like that, you know, like crumpets. Oh my gosh, you didn't watch my pie?
No.
Wow.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, I'm so old.
It's fine. When did I get so old?
When did I get so old? She won't eat crumpets because of the holes. It's really funny, she's just got an aversion to it. Chamomile flowers are not yellow, are they? It's the centre. Yeah, I'm just blanking on what a chamomile looks like. There couldn't be a bird called a chamomile, could there? I'm making that up. It's just that it's got a bird on the front of it. Whatever. It's chamomile is the colour.